Welcome back to Secrets Recapped. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more content. A team of young people consisting of 2 men and a woman was unlocking the door of a beautiful house. One of the members, seemingly nervous, repeated their rules: don't take any cash and only steal things that are below 10 grand. Before they vacated the house, they switched the security alarm system back on, which resulted in the alarm going off as they escaped. Sometime later, they were driving and smoking marijuana. One of the guys mentioned that a friend of theirs was leaving the city, but it didn't surprise the others as they believe that everyone leaves Detroit. After all, their group was planning to move to California for good after their next robbery. The girl asked her friend to come with them, but he refused as he can't leave his dad. Then, they dropped the guy at his house. The guy went straight to his father's study to return the key of the house they had just ransacked. It turned out that his dad works for a home security company. One of the men in the group, alias Money, went upon the things they stole. However, those things were not worth very much. He tried to argue with the broker, and the buyer said that if he wants money, he should steal. He then proceeded to give him a tip for the next gig. Money passed the tip along and told his friends about the next job. Their next robbery gig was a house that belongs to a veteran who lives on his own in the abandoned part of town. The other two were not pleased. Money explained that the man's daughter was run over by a rich girl and he was given a huge compensation by the court. The girl then agreed as this job seemed easier than the previous ones. However, the nervous guy named Alex was worried about the consequences of stealing a huge amount of money from his dad's client. He then bailed. The girl named Rocky texted Alex later, pleading with him to do the job so she could rescue someone from their life. Alex noticed that Rocky was at home with her sister, mom, and her new boyfriend. Her mom and her boyfriend are both horrible people. It is apparent that Rocky wants her sister to be free of this destitute life. Alex agreed to take it on, and research the veteran. Alex, Rocky, and Money drove to the veteran's neighborhood to observe. While Money was out observing things, Alex and Rocky were in the car alone. Rocky became sentimental and shared a story from her childhood. Alex promised her that he'd come with them to California once they finished this gig. Money returned to the car and confirmed what they had already researched about the house. Suddenly, a Rottweiler jumped at the window of the car. They hadn't noticed the old veteran, who had been out walking, until he called to the dog. That's when the group realized that the veteran they were planning to rob was a blind man. Then they argued about how unethical it was to rob someone who is blind. When they came back to the veteran's house later that night, all the lights were off. They first took care of the dog by feeding it meat laced with some kind of drug. Next, when they tried to open the front door, the keys from Alex's dad's security company wouldn't work. Then they checked the perimeter of the house for any other entrance and they found a small window that only Rocky could pass through. Rocky entered the house and stopped the alarm with the remote that Alex had given her. Inside, she saw a picture of the veteran's dead daughter on the mantel. On the other side, Alex and Money were waiting for her to let them in. When the trio were all inside, they started going through everything, searching for the safe with the money in it. Money headed to the old veteran's room to chloroform him. He saw the old man sleeping with his daughter's baby videos playing in the background. At that moment the veteran woke up and turned the TV off. Money managed to activate the gas when the man was climbing back in bed. He went downstairs to join the others in their search for the safe. They all noticed a bolted door and agreed that the money might be hidden there. So Money took a gun and shot at the bolt, thinking that the old man was drugged. This frightened Alex because having a gun involved wasn't what they had agreed upon, so he left. Just as Money and Rocky opened the door, suddenly the veteran appeared out of nowhere, asking who was there. The duo fell silent, but the man heard Money and followed his voice as he tried to lie to the old man. Money then shot him once to scare him, but that did not faze the veteran. The old man grabbed the gun from Money's hand and shot him in the head. The old man didn't know that Rocky was there. Just then, Alex walked back into the house, almost bumping into the veteran. Alex hid in the bathroom and texted Rocky. Then she told him her hiding spot. Meanwhile, the old veteran came to a drywall and opened the closet containing the safe. He entered his code and checked the money. From her hiding place on the other side of the room, Rocky could see the PIN code of his safe. When the old man left, Alex met up with her and told her that they should call the cops. Rocky disagreed and opened the safe to take the money. The duo decided to escape through a bolted door, thinking it would lead them to the basement and to a hatch that was an exit to the yard. However, before they could escape, the old veteran suddenly appeared. He was dragging Money's body to the other side of the house. The old man was still not aware that there were another 2 burglars in his house besides the body he was dragging. However, he suddenly became aware of that when he bumped into their shoes. He rushed to his safe and just as he feared, the money was gone. Meanwhile, Alex and Rocky headed to the basement and there they saw a girl tied with military rope. Whenever she moved, the ring that was attached to her notified the vet. The duo figured out that the girl in the basement must be the girl who killed the old man's daughter. Rocky helped her, despite what she had done. The group tried to pass through the basement hatch, but the old man was waiting for them and started firing his gun. He immediately killed the girl who had killed his daughter. The old man was crying that his baby was dead. While he was still crying and clutching the body of the dead girl, Alex and Rocky escaped. Soon, the old veteran came to his senses, quickly shut down the electricity and then chased the 2 thieves. Since it was dark, the duo also became blind. The old veteran caught Alex and tried to strangle him. But fortunately for Alex, he managed to escape with Rocky. Meanwhile, outside, the Rottweiler woke up from his sedation, and was also on the prowl for the 2 burglars. The dog chased Alex and Rocky to the 2nd floor and cornered them in one of the rooms. When they looked around, they saw that the windows were barred and escape seemed impossible. Eventually, the old veteran caught up with them and was outside the room with his dog and a gun. Rocky and Alex searched for a way to escape. It was dark and difficult to see anything. But after much searching, they saw a vent. Alex instructed Rocky to crawl inside the vent while he guarded the door. While Rocky was inside the vent, the old veteran burst into the room. He attacked Alex, who then fell back into the room, off the window ledge. Meanwhile, the dog was chasing Rocky by following her scent through the shaft. In order to escape the dog, she jumped onto a vertical shaft. Back to the veteran, the vet had figured out Alex's location and had started shooting at the window, forcing him off onto the first floor. Alex then ran to a storage room where the gardening tools were kept, but the vet caught up to him. They struggled and the old man stabbed him with garden scissors. Sometime later, Rocky woke up to a bruised body. She started crawling through the vents again, and spotted two exits, one leading inside the house, and the other leading outside. Rocky then tried to break the bars at the exit leading outside the house, but before she could do so, the veteran grabbed her from the other side. A while later, Rocky became conscious that she is in the basement, tied like the girl they had seen earlier. In the corner of the room, she noticed the vet, and she promised that she wouldn't tell a soul about what had happened and begged him to let her go. The old veteran explained that he hadn't been keeping the girl from earlier to torture or punish her. He just thought that since she took his daughter away from him, she should replace her. He was keeping the girl captive because she was carrying his baby. The old man continued by saying that it's Rocky's fault for the baby's death and she should be held accountable. In another part of the house, Alex woke up. He realized that the old man had stabbed the wrong body. It was Monies, who was already dead. Alex then tricked the dog into entering a room and locked it once it was inside. In the basement, the old veteran was heating up his semen. He was telling Rocky that she should bear his child, in place of the dead girl from earlier, and because he's not a rapist, he would just inseminate her with his sperm. However, before the vet could do that, Alex arrived in the basement. He quickly tied up the old man and freed Rocky, who then kicked the old man. Alex told Rocky that they should not call the police, but escape instead. The duo took the money, left the basement, and headed to the front door. But before they could leave, the old man managed to escape again and to shoot Alex. Rocky ran outside as fast as she could, while the veteran's dog chased her. She ran to Money's car, dropping the bag in the process. After she retrieved it and was inside Money's car, she realized that she didn't have the keys. So Rocky trapped the Rottweiler inside the car. But once she was outside, too late, she saw the old man. He grabbed her hair and dragged her, kicking and screaming, back inside the house. He commanded her not to move. However, Rocky noticed a remote for the alarm and triggered it. This distracted him long enough for her to see an opportunity of escape, which was to push the old vet down the basement stairs. Rocky thought that she had finally killed the old man. She took the money and escaped the house. Sometime later, Rocky was sitting in the airport with her little sister when she saw the news about the old veteran. It turned out that he survived. Fortunately for her, there was no mention of their robbery. Rocky will now live a good life with her sister in California.